Hey, this is Kyle Crawford from Strong Dads. Strong Dads podcast would love to thank the Crimers Beer House for coming alongside of us. The Crimers Beer House was started in 1982 by the Crimer family, and since that time, they have definitely become a Cincinnati favorite. So if you're looking for an incredible meal in an incredible setting, definitely go down to Route 128 and check out the Crimers Beer House. All right, hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Strong Dads. Burrow, how you doing today?
Sorry, I took a drink at the wrong time. Well, you know how I'm doing. Look what I'm doing. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. Are you serious?
Yeah, look, I got orange and black.
He's got orange. Woo! Go Bengals, man. This is our pre-Super Bowl recording. This is a once in a lifetime event. So we're gonna take full advantage of this today.
Hold on.
Yeah. What?
Once in a lifetime for me so far. Well, I mean, technically speaking, I guess the second time.
Right, yeah.
But for you, this is how many times have you?
Well, what I really should say, this is a once in a lifetime potential still.
Potential.
Because
okay, yeah, there we go.
we still have not secured the win.
That's right.
Okay. Right. So, yeah, if you are a Bengals fan, you are of at least, how old are you, 33?
Yes, I'm 33.
So
yep.
33 years
it was the
older.
89 season, right? It was the last time they made it.
Yeah. And so, you may have seen the Bengals participate in a Super Bowl game, but no one on the history of the planet, no one in the history of the planet has ever seen the Bengals win a Super Bowl. And so
will it happen?
We are all fired up here in the Cincinnati tri-state area. So
yeah, I think we're going to get into some kind of cool odds and ends stuff about the Super Bowl and the some of the cool stats behind it. It'll be fun. We're gonna kind of hang out.
Lighthearted today. Yeah, lighthearted.
We're gonna act like we know what we're talking about when it comes to it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're gonna go with it. We're gonna talk about the other themes too here. The themes of winning.
All right.
What winning does.
All right. Okay? I love it.
All right. Let's thank a couple of our sponsors, and then I do have an announcement I want to make. But go ahead.
All right. Sounds great. Strong Dads. We would love to thank the Crimers Beer House for coming alongside of us. Located down on Route 128. Go down there, check them out. Let Mark know we sent you down there. Let him know how much we appreciate them. So thanks so much for Crimers Beer House.
All right. I also want to thank Casey's Outdoor Solutions for coming alongside of Strong Dads. So Casey has been a strong supporter of the work that we do here. So for all your gardening needs, landscape, and even gift ideas, go down to Casey's Outdoor Solutions located outside of Lawrenceburg, Indiana. So I do have an announcement, and I've said something in one of our previous shows, but we're really driving kind of hard on this now. So I think I told you that one of our things that we wanted to do in 2022 was to launch our Rock Solid Marriage program that Linda and I are putting together. And so that's what we're doing. We are actively now launching the Rock Solid Marriage program. So here's my call out. We are starting the pilot program, and we are looking for couples. We're looking for couples who would be willing to go. This is an online marriage program where we go through 7 stages of building your marriage. And so we kind of make the analogy to like building a home, the different things that we have to put in place and how we put them into place in order to build that marriage. Okay. And so it's a pilot program. So we are estimating it's going to take probably about 10 to 12 weeks.
Okay.
Even though there's 7 stages, a couple of them will go quickly. Some of them are going to be a week or 2 long. So anyway, if you are interested in doing this, then I ask you to message me, contact me. You can get me at hutch at rocksolidfamilies.org, or you could call our office at 812-576-7625 and just say, hey, I would be interested in the Rock Solid Marriage program because we're looking for couples. We will screen you because some things that we're looking for is, are you going to be committed to do the work? All right. Are you understanding the health that you're bringing in? Like if one of you is dealing with a separate issue, a mental health issue or whatever, and that's contaminating the marriage, then we want to screen that out because we want to make sure people get help first for that problem, and then that we can help the marriage.
So are you guys only looking for marriages in need currently for this pilot part, or is it just a call out for anybody that is looking possibly try it out.
Anybody who'd like to try it out.
Sure.
Okay. Anyone who'd like to try it out, because we're going to hit a lot of areas, and we are going to say that we are going to help improve your marriage, no matter its condition or state. If you were in a severe state, like we are ready to divorce, we really do want to talk to you first, because maybe that is a little bit more intensive than what this program is going to intend to do. Okay. So anyway, give us a call. There is a cost to it. This is a $2,500 value, and when you'll understand that when you go through the number of sessions you'll have, the tools that you'll get, all of the different Q&A sessions that we're going to make available, all the resources we're going to give you. But we are doing kind of a pilot program offer at $749. And again, if the money is a big sticking factor, just still give us a call. There are some ways that we can help with that, because we really just want a good quality group to start with that will help. We can help and they can help us.
Good deal.
All right.
I like it. So I like the call out. I like the little housekeeping we had to do there. That was good. So moving on to the Super Bowl, Merle. So I know in our last show you had made mention that your knees hurt because of jumping on and off the bandwagon so much. So it was you had sent over this article from CBS Sports. So they came up with 56 things to know about the Super Bowl versus the Bengals and the Rams. And as I'm reading through these, I realize that I'm not a Bengals fan because I know very little about this. So, I think maybe you guys out there, maybe here in the Cincinnati tri-state area, you maybe have found yourself jumping on and off of that bandwagon every once in a while.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is because the Bengals have not been very successful.
Yeah. So let's talk first about why it's important to go after a winning life. Mm-hmm. Okay. And, the whole Bengal organization, and this is not going to be a bashing of the Bengals or anything, but the whole Bengal organization has struggled with winning over its years, and that's not new news.
Sure.
Okay, I mean they've had their seasons of winning, but much more of losing.
Yep.
And so losing comes at a cost.
Yep.
It comes at a cost, and I think it's really important for us to look at that in our life as well. The cost is that people lose heart, people lose interest, people have a hard time investing.
Yeah.
And so whether it's the Bengals or whether it's us in our own personal life, if I'm in a bad trend of losing and I don't do the right work, to start to turn that around, people around me, even myself, I'll lose interest. And then you start to get sort of that muckiness, like, I don't know. I don't even know if I want to invest in this. And you get a very lukewarm crowd base. Yep. Okay. And so that's kind of what the Bengals have had to deal with. And it's really a shame because one of the things that we do know about our Cincinnati area is it's a blue collar, love to get dirty, in the dirt sort of town. I mean, and so that football does ring with this town. Yeah. Okay. Kind of like Pittsburgh and those kind of towns. But Cincinnati has just been desperate for so long that many of us have become very half-hearted.
Yeah. Right? Well, when you were talking about the idea of when you see or you are part of, not being successful, right? It's hard to continue to invest in that. And you hear that a lot from this area, people who say, I was a diehard Bengals fan for 20 years. I was a season ticket holder. And then, you'll hear accounts of people saying, and it from the outside looking in, again, I'm not part of the organization, it did appear as if winning was not a priority. Winning didn't appear to be something that was and again, I know that those players that were part of the organization obviously wanted to win. I don't know any professional athlete on the face of the planet who would say, I didn't want to win. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to take that away, but I think it's hard because when losing becomes the norm, you almost lose a sense of urgency, or you lose a sense of pride, right, amongst yourself to want to get better, because it's just, for so long the Bengals have not been good, right, and this town, this city has kind of almost shrugged their shoulders at some point, right, and it's like, well, it's just the Bengals, what about next year, right? Yeah. And that become the mantra of the city. Oh, there's always next year, and it's hard because you do lose that sense of wanting to invest in in a losing entity, right? Which the same could be said about most things in our life, man. If you find yourself stacked up and it's just, man, you're getting beat down time and time and time again, it's hard to put on, strap up your boots and go to work, right? But what it takes is putting the right things in place and actually investing in something that is hard at the time to do to get the results that we're obviously seeing now with the Bengals. They invested in, they brought in a quarterback, they brought in some wide receivers, they got a new head coach, right? And even with the new head coach, there was still some rocky years.
Those first 2 years,
I know. 2 years ago, they had they were a two game, or they won 2 games that entire season. So and I think that goes to show, even when you make changes, even when you are enough is enough, the buck's going to stop here. Yeah. It's not just going to be an immediate change, right? You're not just all of a sudden just going to start winning.
Yeah. And it's, the idea here of, you've said it in our last show, winning solves a lot of problems, all right? Winning cures all. And we need to understand that, because winning, it makes us want to invest. It makes us say, this is worthy. And so, like, if I have a string of losses and I start to lose hope, then people start to lose their ability to work for it. And so if I'm talking about a marriage, and if I have one loss after the next, okay, a break in trust, infidelity issues, just not loving the other person right, and it goes on day after day after day. All of a sudden we become, and this is what we talk about in the marriage world all the time, all of a sudden the hearts become hardened. And when the heart becomes hardened, I mean, it's really tough to revive that. In Cincinnati, the community, it was kind of like that love affair between the fan base and the team itself. It was like, oh my gosh, how much longer can we have this lack of trust, these failures? And you watched the hearts get hardened. And it was funny, because every time you'd get a first-round draft, or we'd get a new coach, you'd see a little bit like, so you're telling me there might be a chance, right? Like, so that it speaks to the craving for winning in this town. Like, man, we just kept hanging on. There'd be a lot of towns that would be like, football's just really not that. This team can come and go, all right? And the organization did a lot of things that really made this town kick back. I mean, back when they built Paul Brown Stadium, I mean, that came at the taxpayers' cost, and it wasn't cheap. It was like $500 million price tag.
I think they used that deal as an example of what not to do for future builds.
Right? Yeah, and they kept saying, we're going to put out a great product. We're going to put out a great product. And again, here's my point. My point is, the organization should be a lesson to us that if you're not winning in life, then you need to personally start figuring out what you need to do to win. Because if you're not doing the things to win, eventually the people around you, they will start to pull away. They will grow cold. They will become hardened. Right. And even you will become hardened. Like, one of the problems that we've seen in the organization at the player level is that once these guys played for the Bengals for a couple of years, and they saw that it wasn't going to change, then there was always this dissent in the locker room. And again, I'm not here to point fingers at those guys. That's what happens with losing. Like, like nothing's ever going to change here. Nothing's going to change. And if the average NFL season or career is about 3.5 years. Sure. And if I only have that short of time, I need to look elsewhere. So I'll start being a dissenter so they get rid of me. Well, that's the nature of the beast.
That you bring up a great point, because that's what I was thinking, man. When it comes to losing, whether it's in your marriage, whether your marriage is not moving in a direction that would be considered winning or successful, like you're up against some tough times, or whether you're an NFL team that is constantly losing, I think the fingers get pointed a lot. I think that's when there are a lot of pushbacks, when there's a lot of failures that go on, I think the natural instinct is to start pointing those fingers and say, well, it's the head coach. Well, it's the defensive of players. It's the offensive players. It's the quarterback. It's whatever. And the same can be said about your marriage. And I feel like a lot of times it's like, well, the kids are a distraction, right? She doesn't put forth the effort that I want her to, so on and so forth. And what you just said, I think, is so true. It's we need to take a step back as strong dads and realize that it is on us. Like,
Right.
For her, we talk all the time on this show that just take ownership, right? Own the parts in which you can, change in your marriage. So if your marriage is failing, man, instead of pointing those fingers first, how about we take a step back and say, it's on me. A while ago I heard, I think it was George W. Bush Jr. talking about his dad and said one of the best things that his dad ever did was, as a leader, when there was successes, he gave the credit to other people. When there was failures, it was on him.
Yeah.
He said, the buck's going to stop with me. And I think, man, if there's one way to lead, I think there's so much value in that statement, that when there's failures, when your team is losing, it's on me, right? And I'm not saying there's not other people responsible, but
Right.
the buck's going to stop with me. I'm going to take the brunt of the ownership, right? And when there's successes, I'm going to give that to other people. Like, man, they help rise this team to where it is now. It's not a single person that's contributing to it. It was a collective. These guys put in the work, and now they're obviously winning.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that. The idea of how I get people then to get in a trend to win, okay? And I do think that this starts, for us strong dads, it actually starts with us. And when we look at, like, keeping the analogy going, the comparison between us and the Bengals, this all starts from top office vision. All right, that top office, and in your case, in your marriage, your top office. Okay, in other words, you're running the show as a strong dad. It is your vision, all right. And so one of the things that we notice as Cincinnati fans over these years is that head office, top office, seem to really lack vision. They lacked vision. And Mike Brown had been accused of many times, he's a good businessman, but he's not a good football man. He didn't have a vision for football. Now, his father, Paul Brown, the opposite was true, right? Like, man, that guy had vision for football, what it would take to actually go out and create football that was winning. And his son was arguably probably an incredibly talented businessman, just because he got the taxpayers to build stadiums. He's been profitable, these kind of things. But if the goal is to produce a great product, he did not have vision for that. And so it starts with us, guys. In your home, if your marriage, if your family is struggling, stop looking at your wife, stop looking at your kids. You are head office. All right. It is your vision that you cast and you start to drive that's going to bring home the Super Bowl for your life. Okay. And I'm not sure exactly what has changed. I know that the Brown family, the daughter, Katie, and her son or her husband have now kind of risen up to be, I think, much more operative in maybe that vision casting. I don't know. I don't want to speak out of realm there, but that whole idea that something changed. And I think the fans drove a lot of that, right? Like, Marvin Lewis was not the worst coach in the world. He actually did bring a number of wins. Sure. Right? But something changed in the vision casting. Yeah. And the fans said, we want more. We have a better vision for winning than the head office does.
I love that.
Okay. Yeah. And so that's almost like your kids craving for your marriage to work better than you do. Right? And the kids screaming, we want better, Mom and Dad. We want better. Okay. And that's kind of what was happening in Cincinnati with the fan base. We want better. And so much pressure from the kids, the fans, hopefully woke up central office to say, oh, we really do need to do something differently.
Yeah. So I got a question for you. So this idea of the vision and that I in order to have or begin the process of winning, there has to be that vision, right? So I've never once or never been a fan of moral victory. So if you lose, there's something as far as in a sports world, what do you think? Because I think for any organization, any marriage, there's going to be failures, right? We're going to have the failures. What do you think? How do we find that balance between failures being positive in the sense because we can learn from them, and versus always having success? Which I don't know any marriage on the face of the planet that has a string of successes for the life of the marriage, right? So I think there's definitely that balancing. But how when you go through coaching sessions and you do see marriages that are failing. Like, how do you bring light, or how do you bring positivity to those failures? Because I think there's got to be positive. Like, we got to move forward from them.
It's I call it game film. It's game film day, and so we in our early sessions we have to review the game film. And I make marriages is I make that couple go through and say, I want you to review with me. I don't even know you guys. Review with me some history, okay? And then I say, okay, tell me some things that have absolutely gone off the rails. Yeah. So that's basically like the day after. That's the Monday film day where you're looking at the guys and you're all watching the same film and you're saying, oh, I fumbled. I missed a block, okay? And so that's kind of the come to Jesus meeting. And so part of marriage coaching, and that's why we do coaching rather than counseling. We do coaching from the aspect of we're going to review some game film and we're going to have some hard talks. And once we start to identify, you do have to identify and you have to bring out the ugly pain.
Sure.
Okay, you do. And because motivating forces here for our marriages are pain and pleasure. Right? And lukewarm is the worst place you want to be.
Sure.
It's the worst place because you don't. So I think of the Marvin Lewis years as being lukewarm.
Sure.
Not necessarily good, not necessarily bad, just good enough. And so if I'm just good enough, I really don't have any pressing need to make a change. And that's where a lot of marriages sit. And so if they finally come to the point where they come to Linda and I for help, we're going to go in and look at the bad and really try to shine a light on it to say, okay, how much pain did that cause you? Is that what you want to keep repeating? Because you have to make that intense. Intensity creates emotion, and emotion creates drive. Drive to do something about it.
Sure.
Okay? And so if you're always at a 500 season, I can hang here. Like, at least we're not the worst. Those are the things that start happening in your head.
Yep.
Right? And so, anyway, the point would be we have to shine that light on the losses. Meaning we got to go after them. We got to go after the mistakes. And then say, okay, now how do we handle that differently? How do we turn that mistake into something better and we win?
Yep. I love it. So as we kind of keep moving through this show, so I made reference to this. You had sent over the CBS Sports, came up with 56 things to know about the Super Bowl. So when you read through these, realistically, no BS here, how many of these 56 things did you know?
I knew about half. I knew about half of these things. A lot of them were, just like as soon as I read it, I went, oh yeah, I knew that. I knew that. But a lot of them I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Yep.
Okay. Some of the more obvious ones was just that the Bengals have only been to the game two times.
Yep.
Okay.
This will be their third time.
Right. And I think the Rams have been there, is it 4 times?
I think 4, yep.
They've been there 4 times. Okay. The Rams have won 1 Super Bowl.
Yep.
All right. And we have won none.
Now, see, and this is kind of the part with they're now the LA Rams, right? They didn't used to be the LA Rams, so they didn't used to be the LA Rams. So,
right.
So technically speaking, I don't know if I guess because they still carry the Ram name, I guess we'll allow it, right? Because I think the one stat I was reading something about when the last time the Bengals were in, like the Oilers or something, like there was some team that's not even around, right?
The Oilers, yep, yeah.
Do you remember them?
I do. Heck yeah, I remember them. Yeah. So let's take a look at, everyone's talking about Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joe Burrow, some of the things in here with Joe Burrow, he's in his second season.
Yep.
Very young guy. He didn't even complete his first season because he had a knee injury halfway through that season, which took him out. Spent the entire year rehabbing, all these kinds of things. But let's look at him for just a second, okay? Man, that guy's getting a ton of pressure.
Yep.
Some of the stuff that they're saying about him, he's the next Joe Namath, right? He's the next Tom Brady.
Yep.
He's going to carry the torch, Joe Cool.
Yep.
All of these things. What is your thought on that? I mean, he's 23, I think, 23, 24 years old.
Yep.
And so what would you do if you had that kind of national pressure on you at that age?
I think he's 25. I just read
25.
that.
Okay.
25. If I had the crazy thing is the dude has been knocked down before, right? He put
9 sacks in one.
Well, there is that, but I'm talking like in college. You know, he was at Ohio State and wasn't he wasn't performing and obviously wasn't playing, right?
Yeah.
So he transferred to LSU, and I think, man, I'm rooting for this dude because he's been knocked down, right?
Yeah.
And then he goes on, he wins a national title, he wins a Heisman, and now has the potential to win a Super Bowl. Be the first person ever to do that.
Right.
That's pretty cool. I like guys who kind of have a little bit of swag, who has that like. Mm-hmm. I'm here to win, right? That's
right.
what I'm here to do. I like guys like that, and he has. I think I said in the last show, he has like this perfect amount of swag, I think, for this area. But man, if I put myself in his shoes, which is hard to think, on top of how much money the dude is gonna make and is making, if I put myself in his shoes, I'm nervous as hell right now. I'll be honest, Merle, because if I look at some of the dudes on the LA Rams that are coming after me, the Donalds and the Von Millers, whoo boy, them boys are thick.
They can't wait to knock his Joe Cool down to a new level.
Yep.
All right, because I can see the first time he gets sacked by one of those guys that they stand over top of him and like, ain't so cool now, Joe, is it? You know, that kind of thing.
And because those guys have been around for a while, right? This is Joe Burrow's second year in the NFL. I think there's the get some time on the job kid type mentality.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna knock you down and like, oh, you think you're gonna get back up? I'm coming right back here to knock you down again. So yeah, I'm nervous. I'm nervous as can be right now if I'm Joe Burrow.
So that's kind of how I feel like. You know, I love the excitement that's creating, and we're getting just a lot behind him. And he's handling interviews, it seems, pretty well at this point.
Yeah.
But you know, when you get out on that big stage like that, you can win big, but man, you can fail even bigger, right? And so that's the thing that a young guy like that, any of us really, but he's actually in the opportunity. You really have to know, okay, like, what's my system? My support system going to be? How am I going to make sure I don't burn bridges, right? The last thing you want to do is come out all cocky like you're the man and then somehow isolate yourself from your team, right? You really have to stay connected. Like, no, I did not win this. We won this, right?
And so, think how hard it would be at 25. You have had an incredible amount of success. At 25, you put yourself in his shoes. You are that guy. I mean, the one press conference, he's got the big jewelry. Like, I think the dude's got a perfect amount of swag. But, I mean, if I put myself in him at 25 and having this success, I mean, I'm on top of the world, right? There's nobody that can beat me, right? Von Miller, watch this, bro. You know? I mean, I can see that mentality coming out as well.
You know what I like about him? So one of the things I have always been turned off on are guys who are constantly running their mouth about how great they are. All right, bringing a lot of attention to them by seeking it verbally. So, you know, they're always running their mouth. They're saying how great they are. And he does not do that. Now, if you ask him, he's going to tell you, but he doesn't constantly grab the mic and have to be shouting, yelling. So and I think that you said before, he's got the perfect amount of swag for this area. Like the Cincinnati folks tend to be a little bit more like, no, don't be telling me about how great you are. let me just see it. Let me see it. And remember Chad Ochocinco?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, people either loved Chad or hated him because he couldn't shut his mouth, right? And I think he brought on a lot of his own haters just because sometimes, like, Chad, the more you run your mouth like that, the more people can't wait to shut it. So
let's look on the other side of the ball. So the LA Rams, right? So one thing I didn't know this, Matthew Stafford, who is the quarterback for the LA Rams, was a former number 1 draft pick. I actually didn't know that. So obviously, you know, for those of you who don't know, maybe I'm assuming most people probably do, Matthew Stafford came from the Detroit Lions, right?
Right.
So anybody who doesn't know, the halftime show is going to have Eminem, right, who was also or is also from Detroit. So I heard something that says that this will be the closest Detroit has ever come to a Super Bowl, having Matthew Stafford and Eminem at the Super Bowl. But man, Matthew Stafford has gone through a lot of failures, right? He played for the Detroit Lions, who have never made it to a Super Bowl. And I did hear that they were saying, like, if you never want a home team to host the Super Bowl, put it in Detroit or Houston, or I think there's like 4 teams that have never played in the Super Bowls. But man, I think this dude, I'm rooting for him. I like Matthew Stafford. I think it's cool, his story. LA invest in him, traded a lot of picks to get this dude, and he showed up, right? And they got a great team behind him.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's cool to see a guy who's late in his career, who is finding success that he's never had before, and he's like immersed in it, right? This dude is all in. I think it's pretty cool. I like the dude.
No, he's really cool too, and I like that too. Like, he came from his own bumps and bruises, and he seems to be a very humble guy. So that just comes across really well. And like I said, he's hungry now too. I mean, when you come from Detroit, just like when you come from Cincinnati, you tend to get hungry because you're tired of the mediocre, you're tired of the losing. How about this guy? How about Andrew Whitworth?
Yeah.
All right, Andrew Whitworth. I mean, spends his pretty much all of his career.
I didn't even think about
at Cincinnati, right. And now Andrew, he's 40 years old. 40 years old, and I've been following him a little bit, and he just, even though he's a big dude, I mean, he's 330 pounds and like 6'6" or something crazy, and he's got an arm span that looks like some kind of some eagle or something. But this whole idea of how the interview I saw with him was just so gracious towards the Bengals. He was like, I just have to be honest. If the Rams were not in this, I would be all Bengals. Like, because I still love that team. I love those guys. And he was just talking about how he can't wait for those guys to get out there, like during practice time and stuff, and just hang out with them. But he is so smart. He is so good at his game. At 40 years of age, he has adapted with his age to keep playing at the highest level. So, I mean, he's a class act. I'm looking forward, to just seeing him. And again, obviously we want the Bengals to win, but I would love to see him have a great game. Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, I think, there's something to be said, similar to what I was talking about with Stafford, and you brought up Whitworth, what I think is really cool. Man, if you've been in a place in your life, you old folks that have been beat up before, right? Like, I mean, I think naturally, I think I've heard you say you've never met a cocky old man, right? Because they've gotten beat up so many times. And I think the two guys we just talking about are a perfect example. They have been beat up before, so there's only one place to be, and that's just in a humble position. Like, hey, man, I love the experience I've had, with the Bengals or with Detroit. I'm here now, and I'm all in. And I think it's pretty cool. How can you not root for something like that?
Right. No, I'm all for it. It's going to be fun. I think you have two teams here that both I like that they're not the Patriots. I like that even though I've been a fan of Tom Brady's here the last few years for just the amazing feats that he's done. It's cool that he's not in. Yeah. And so and it's really cool then that we have somebody in the party. So
well, that's the first time there's been the 2 4 seeds.
2 4 seeds playing. Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
So okay, so let's start to wrap it up.
Right.
What's the final score?
Final score, I'm going to say, so currently the Bengals are not favored. They're expected to lose by 4 or more is the spread.
That's the spread, yeah.
So I may or may not be betting on that. I'm going to say, bold prediction here, I'm going to say 23-20 Bengals win.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, good. So
what about you? What do you got?
I'm actually probably pretty close in your park there. I was going to say 27-24 Bengal win.
All right.
Yeah. So I think we're both in that mid-range score. And so probably going to be McPherson kicking the game winner.
Seems to be the MO.
He's kind of got a trend going here. Why ruin it now?
Well, have you ever noticed, like, anytime the announcers always point out how successful a kicker is? Oh, he's perfect. He's been, he's never missed a field goal from this.
I know.
And they always miss it. Well, apparently McPherson is that, right? He's like he's incredible, and he's getting all the raves. I don't think you can find his jersey right now.
Right? Oh no, you can't. Yeah.
So you watch. We'll see how true of a Bengal fan you are. If McPherson misses the game-winning field goal to win the Super Bowl,
he's the worst kicker.
He's awful. It's going to be 21-20. LA's winning, and the Bengals are going to have the ball to kick the game winner, and he's going to miss.
Here's what I'm dreading.
I hope not.
If the Bengals lose, I can't imagine how bad my knees are going to hurt on Monday.
You jumping off?
I'm jumping back off, man. I'm jumping off. All right, we want to thank you guys for listening to Strong Dads, and we do, let's just have some fun. Let's celebrate this weekend. Let's celebrate the win. But I do think a takeaway message is that if you're not winning in your life, it is on you.
Yep.
It is on you. You are the head office. You are the one who drives the vision for making the changes. And if you don't like where you are, then get to work. All right.
Yep.
Winning comes from you first. And we can't be finger pointing at players, and the players in our life, of whether it's the wife or whether it's the kids or whether it's the job. It's you, dude. It's you. Make the changes, get the vision for what you're going to do, and start putting into work. And again, that's what we're hoping here for our Bengals. I almost said Bungles. See,
Bungles?
that's what happens all these years. All these years, they went from Bengals to Bungles about 15 years ago.
Now everyone's Houday, right?
Houday. They're selling 6 packs of Houday beer again.
That's awesome. Anyways, yeah, thanks so much, Kramer's Beer House, Casey's Outdoor Solutions, for coming alongside of us. As you had said, Murrow, at the very beginning of the show, if you guys want to check out the pilot program that Murrow and Linda are doing with marriage coaching, man, check them out. Let them know you're interested and come alongside and see what that's all about. If your marriage is struggling, man, reach out. Murrow and Linda, I know, would love to come alongside you guys and work with you through that. So really do appreciate you guys. Keep going out there and being some strong dads and share the heck out of this show. We really do appreciate you guys.
Yeah. If you want to be a winner in your marriage, check out Rock Solid Marriages. And again, that would be a great way to start changing the head office.
I love it.
All right.
Go out there and make some strong dads. Go Bengals.
Go Bengals.
Houday.
Houday! Casey's is a premier garden center and gift shop located in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Casey's offers a wide selection of plants, landscaping materials, home and garden decor, and gifts for every occasion. Casey's is committed to providing exceptional service, a unique shopping experience, and value to every customer. Stop in and see what makes Casey's so unique. Located at 21481 State Line Road, Lawrenceburg, Indiana, or call 812-537-3800. Let Casey's help you add beauty to your home.